Hey, what's going on, everybody? And today we're going to be going over 5.12 nested conditionals. So let's get started. All right, first example. So the conditionals that we went over yesterday were the and, or, and not. And that's when we want to test two different things. Another way to deal with this is by nesting if statements inside of other if statements. So that's what we call a nested conditional. Right? So you get an example of it here on mouse press. If x is greater than 200, and then right away this turns into if y is greater than 200, then we're going to say yes, right? So the only way it goes to this if statement for the y is if the x is greater than 200. So remember, what does that mean? X is greater than 200 means that this is going to be somewhere on the right-hand side. Right? So if x is greater than 200, now yes. So it moves on. It actually does this code. Now check, is y greater than 200? Right? And if y is greater than 200, that would be something that's down here. So the only place where it's greater than x in the 200 and greater than y in the 200 is going to be this little spot where they overlap, this circle right there. Right? So basically what ends up happening is it's kind of doing both of those things that we went over last time. Now we're just nesting if statements. Right? So if I click somewhere in here, nothing, 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 nothing. But if I click here, yes, we're getting this code to run. So let's see what's happening. First look at line 8. It tests that if x is everything that I just talked about. Okay. Checkpoint 1. In the previous example, what's another way we could get this same behavior? Drawing only things in the bottom right. Well, really, there's no real order of operations. We could switch these things. Right? If I say if y is greater than 200, then it's going to test that everything down here is, what's being clicked. All right. And then if I put if x is greater than 200, it's going to say, okay, what satisfies both of those things? Y is greater than 200 and x is greater than 200. Boom. It's going to be down there. So, if y is greater than 200, I need to actually run this. Then we go. So all I did was switch the x's and y's. Let's see if that's one of the, just use one compound. We could definitely do that. Just use one compound conditional. All right, so my way of doing it actually isn't one of the answers, but we could definitely use an and there. Now let's use else in a nested conditional, like so. Okay, same thing when you press the mouse. If the x value is greater than 200, and then we have a whole nother if and else statement inside of this if statement. So only when x is greater than 200 is this if-else statement actually going to get run, right? So if x is greater than 200, so we're on the right-hand side. If y is greater than 200, draw a green circle with yes in it. So that's going to be down there. If it's not, so if x is greater than 200, but y is not greater than 200, which means it's going to be right there, that top right. What's going to happen? It's going to say nope. If I click anywhere else that x is less than 200, where this is false, which would be all over on the left-hand side, we didn't tell it to do anything, so nothing's going to happen. Checkpoint 2. In the previous example, what happens if we add this line at the start of on mouse press? So just after line 7, but before the if on line 8. So just after line 7, before the if on line 8. So every time I press my mouse, it's going to draw a circle where I press my mouse, x and y, with a radius of 40. And then it's going to actually test this stuff. So let's see. So it's going to draw a circle everywhere. So if you notice what's going on here is it's drawing a black circle and then it's putting that orange nope circle on top of it. So it's actually two shapes. So in the previous, we get black circles, anytime we click. Let's slightly change the previous example, see what happens. We'll move the else on line 12 outside of the first statement, like so. Oh, so see here, originally this if else statement was inside of this one if on line 9 right there. Right? Now what we're doing is we're taking this else, and notice it's not indented anymore. Like before, everything was scooched over like that. Now we're moving it all to be here. So on mouse press, if x is greater than 200, so if we're on the right-hand side, and then if y is greater than 200, do yes. So it's going to do it down here. Okay? But if x is not greater than 200, so now this else, this otherwise statement right there has to do with the one that it's lined up with right there. So what this is saying is, is x greater than 200 where you clicked? If not, then it's going to do this else statement. So anywhere where x is not greater than 200, so anywhere on the left-hand side over here. 3. Since we can often solve this same problem using multiple conditionals or compound conditionals or nested conditionals, how do we know which of these to use for a given problem? Use compound conditionals when you can, and nested, I would say that. Dope! Always use nested conditionals. Compound conditionals are too confusing. No. I guess D? There you go. Whichever one seems the easiest to you. Ooh, now we got one to do. I probably did this already, so let's reset. All right. So if the mouse is on the left-hand side of the screen, draw a star in the upper half and a circled label on the bottom half. So star, circled label saying woohoo. Okay, so let's do that. If mouse X is less than 200 is what we start with. So if I'm on the left-hand side, now I need to test how high am I clicking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to automatically start with another if statement. I'm going to say if Y is less than 200. So if Y, and that's actually needs to be mouse Y. If mouse Y is less than 200, remember 0y is up top, so that's going to be where the green star is. Then let's say star radius 30.7. So star at mouse X, mouse Y, radius 30.7. And fill is equal to, what was this? Spring green. All right, let's try it. Let's just see. If I click down here, nothing should happen because I didn't actually tell it to do anything yet. If I click over here, these regular polygons is what's getting drawn. And if I click up here, hey, there's stars. Okay, so that line of code right there is working. All right, so let's do our other one because we want to draw these little woohoos. So I'm going to need a circle and a label. If mouse X and mouse Y is less than 200, draw a star, else. We want to say draw a circle, if I could spell. Give that a try. So now just again to kind of walk our thought process through it. If the X coordinate of where I click is on the left-hand side, less than 200, now we test the Y's. If Y is less than 200, up here, draw a green star. Otherwise, draw a purple circle with a label on top of it. And then the outside if statement is saying if we're on the left-hand side, do all that testing with the Y. Otherwise, in other words, if it's not on the left-hand side, then make this orange circle, or what is that? Orange polygon, those things. Okay, so let's check our code. Huzzah, and we're good to go, and we can move on. Back to the lesson. So now we have everything at our fingertips in our little coding toolbox to be able to do all these problems. The next video we'll be walking through those. All right, see you later.